The Ashes is hotting up, but not our studio here, which is why I have a warm beverage with me. Siddharth joins us. He doesn't like warm beverages that much, which is why he doesn't hold one. But whatever the next course of 5 to 10 minutes we're going to be doing is we're going to try to build up to the third test match as far as the Ashes is concerned. The Ashes action now shifts to this stadium, a stadium that we're all very fond of. So without wasting any more time, Siddharth and I are going to be talking you through as far as what the numbers suggest for the two teams, what the composition of the two teams could be like, and is this England's actually best chance now to get their first win as far as the 2023 Ashes is concerned, Siddharth?
I mean, look, this is the last chance salon for England because now it's the third test. You either draw or you lose this. The Ashes stays with Australia for 2 more years. Win this, and boy, they are still in the contest. And let us make one thing clear. If there is one venue where England will always fancy a comeback, it is this. It's Leeds.
That's not the full story. Don't get swayed by what Siddharth said, because the numbers might just project a different story altogether. So stay with us, because we're going to be telling you some very telling numbers over the next few minutes.
I mean, before I come to the numbers, let us make one thing very clear that yes, already the England 11 has been announced.
Yes.
Harshit and I did the video earlier in the day wherein we stated that 3 changes are there. Chris Wokes is in, Mark Wood is in, and Moeen Ali is in.
Yes.
Big update is that no Jimmy Anderson.
No Anderson, no Tongue, and you don't have the services of Ollie Pope as well. There is a forced change. But the other two, some tactical, the other also you can say conditions driven.
And Australia, if we have to look at it, there will be no Nathan Lyon for the remainder of the Ashes. So if you want a like-for-like replacement, and if you look at the reports in the Australian media, Todd Murphy might be your replacement there. So Australia will go in with the same 11, the same 10 players. Usman Khawaja, David Warner, Steve Smith, Marnus Labuschagne, Travis Head, Cameron Green, Alex Carey, the guy who's been in the center of all the storm in Lords. Then you're going to go with maybe Mitchell Starc will keep his place, Hazelwood, then you got Pat Cummins, Murphy in place of Lyon, or if the surface deems in Leeds that all 4 pacers play. But looking at the way how England have got 4 pacers.
Exactly. England have gone with 4 pacers, and yes, those pictures that have been doing the round suggest that it's going to be a green top. But let's not forget what had happened at the Oval in London at the World Test Championship final as well. Yep. You had that green cover to begin with, but then conditions deteriorated come the third day itself. Yes. So I'm not saying exactly the same thing's going to happen, but I do have a feeling Australia, because the pacers did the heavy lifting even without Nathan Lyon in the second innings of the second test match. I do feel somewhere they would want to go ahead with the same pace battery and let's say replace Nathan Lyon with a Todd Murphy. I have a feeling that'll happen.
So maybe Scott Boland still doesn't come back into the scheme of things. It's rather unfortunate. Remember how cricket changes. World Test Championship final, gun bowler cannot find a place in the other 2 tests, because in Edgbaston he was taken to the cleaners. Lords couldn't get a place because Starc came in and
Starc was breathing fire.
So in Leeds he will have to do the thing, because Australia also, if you look at Ashes contest between Australia and England in Leeds, it's very close.
Yeah.
And this first number, 26 matches have been played by Australia here. This 26, by the way, is not including the neutral match that they played against Pakistan. Remember in 2010,
these are all matches against England, by the way.
Yep. 26, won 9, lost 9, drawn 8 with a win-loss ratio of 1.
So when you talk about even Stevens, well, this is it.
This is it. And Australia, remember, in most venues, they have a pretty good record. I mean, Lords, in 80 years, they have only lost twice. Yeah. That is the dominance they have. And Leeds, yes, they have been on the receiving end of some miracles, which I will come to later.
Yes,
but Australia on paper, if they want to ensure that they keep the Ashes, Leeds is the best venue for them.
Exactly. And when you look at these numbers, yes, of course, every series, and especially when you talk about the Ashes, past references or past instances don't sort of play on your mind that much. Neither do the numbers, because then, of course, this situation right now, there is a lot of steam, there's a lot that's being said about the Ashes. So lots happening. But then, if at all Australia were just to take their eye off and look at some of the numbers, some of the things that have happened in the past, this is a record that they'll be very, very happy with as far as Australia are concerned. 9 wins, 9 lost matches and 8 draws as well. That is a decent record if you're a travelling side in England.
Yep, so Australia, best place for them to retain the Ashes is here because pace bowling wise, they are sorted. The spin option, Todd Murphy, maybe with the baseball approach, England could target him, reverse sweep, lofted shots. They wouldn't want to let Murphy settle, by the way. The gap that has been left, the huge 100 plus void that is there, the 100 plus void that Nathan Lyon has left, England will really be looking to exploit that. And which is why, you look at this record, against the Aussies, they have had a pretty bad record here. 8-1 out of 25, lost 9, drawn 8, 0.888. But don't go by that number because if Leeds is a great venue for Australia, then for England, Leeds has given them moments where they have had a rebirth when it comes to their cricket. Yes.
2 of those moments we're going to be talking about.
I will focus on the third also after that because see, looking at England's pace battery now, there's no Anderson, fine. You've got Chris Wokes who can trouble the left-handers a lot. So that's why he will be a vital addition, plus it extends their batting.
And when you look at the Australian side, which is where Wokes' inclusion is noteworthy because you've got a David Warner who I think has just the 1 half century at the moment. You've got an Usman Khwaja who's going to be a key man. Then of course you've got Alex Carey to sort of deal with. Then a Mitch Starc as well. So, that's a lot of left-handers.
And Travis Head.
And Travis Head, lest I forget. So, when you look at that, Chris Wokes' inclusion becomes even more important in that case.
Exactly. Then you've got Ollie Robinson. Last time when India played at Leeds, it was Robinson who did most of the damage, along with James Anderson. So that's why Robinson will hold the key here, but the X factor is going to be Mark Wood. Wood, 90 miles per hour, stump to stump, short ball barrage.
Express pace. And again, Leeds, we've seen this in the past as well. You were worried about the other venues. Leeds, you will, after a point, it will just become a batter's paradise. And things just become easy at Leeds after a point. Yes, to begin with, things could be difficult to negotiate with because wins are a thing at times at Leeds. But once you sort of settle in and if the sun comes out, Leeds is exactly the place where you want to be batting. That's where, at a pitch like that, Mark Wood becomes the real X factor.
X factor indeed. And see, so that means you've got 4 different paces if you look at it. Wokes, Broad, then you've got Wood, and then you've got Robinson. All 4 different bowlers who can trouble the Aussie batters at every given point in time. So, spinner, Moeen Ali, he might chip in a few overs with Joe Root. So, they are covered in a lot of ways. And the absence of a good spinner, that will be very key. And Australia might slightly be hurting by that. But, lest we forget, 2-0 up. And England will be buoyed by the delusion that they have been carrying ever since Lords. Because all the talk on the Bairstow stumping and Khwaja's abuse that he suffered at the long room, what it has done, master stroke in propaganda that Brendan McCullum has done. No one's talking about the Lord's loss. They are in that space that, okay, we can get away with it. So that is why England and their spin masters have done the ultimate reverse jinx if you have to look at it. No one's focusing on Edgbaston, it's gone. No one's focusing on Lords, it's gone. Leeds, it's a new chapter for them. And why do I say that it's a new chapter and why England have the best chance to do well in Leeds? By the way, before I come to that thing, last 5 matches also if you look at it, Australia hold the edge.
Yes.
Since the 90s, won 3 and lost 2. So there is rarely ever a draw in Leeds. Australia hold the edge. Ponting has done brilliantly there. If you look at it, in 2009, Australia were down, but they bounced back in Leeds. Mitchell Johnson, Ben Hilfenhaus, Siddle, all took great spells, and they levelled that series very well. But then they lost at the Oval. So 3-2 for Australia, but those 2 losses. Let me come to those 2 losses now.
One of those you'll obviously remember.
Yep.
And that's the picture, Jack.
Just focus on this to the right. The summer of 2019. It was the year of Ben Stokes.
It was the year of Ben Stokes.
He helped you win a World Cup. He helped you keep, he helped his side keep alive the Ashes dream. Simple, right? It was, he won your World Cup, he kept an Ashes dream alive. That was the impact that Ben
Almost,
Stokes
by
had.
the way, did that the other day as well at the Lords as well. You were at all points just reminded of his one innings and the one venue where action is now getting shifted to. And of course, eyes will be on a certain Benjamin Stokes who
Chased down 362. And remember, the relief that was there. Look at how Australia have had to change. He was hitting everything out into the stands. Australia employed 9 fielders. at the
nine
mound.
fielders. Just think about it. Just the only 2 people inside the ring were the bowler and the keeper.
Yes, and the best part is when the relief was there, all the Australians converged when Ben Stokes got that. And so that is why when he got out, Hazelwood mimicked this particular stance. And that is why it's the most savage moment that you can think about it. So, Ben Stokes 2019 Leeds, the Ashes dream was kept alive. 2001,
Mark
Butcher.
Butcher.
England were absolutely hammered by the juggernaut of Steve Waugh. But 173, and England chased down a total of 300 plus in the 4th innings after a very, very long time. But in a different era altogether. 1981, Botham's Ashes.
And no baseball.
No baseball.
No baseball.
500 to 1 odds. If you are a bookie, 500 to 1 odds that England would engineer a remarkable turnaround, you would have been a millionaire at that time. Because England had no business winning that game. But Ian Botham, 149 of the most brilliant runs with the tail, ensured that Australia were under pressure. And the late great Bob Willis, 8 wickets all in one particular spell, ensured England had registered the ultimate of comebacks, and they managed to win 3-1. And before Kolkata 2001, Leeds was the first time when a team won following on. So Australia have had the worst of miracles in Leeds. Stokes, Butcher, that avoided the final whitewash for them, incidentally. That Steve Waugh's side was so brilliant. Botham's Ashes began in 1981 at this venue. So, this venue is kind of, if you want to look at a miracle maker, it works for England. But Australia, this Pat Cummins-led outfit, have shut out all the outside noise. Whatever has happened at Lords, will it spill over? Yes, it will. The crowd will be much more hostile, much more vociferous, and they are going to give Australia a very tough time indeed. Because, as usual, all the talk is on the way how the Australians play. Dirty Australians, the same thing that the British have always kept on harping
Same
about.
old Australia, cheating. Those are the chants ringing at the Lord's cricket ground. And you do expect, much of it, and I'm in complete concurrence with what Siddharth just said, that, is it going to spill over? The answer is a big fat yes. There is no way, because, it's just been about 72 hours, since all the chatter began. It only grew. There was more steam to it. And, the 3rd test match now is happening with this particular setting in the backdrop. And there's no way, that the 2 set of players and the fans are forgetting that.
And remember, this Lord's Test, whatever the incidents happened, it's gone into Ashes folklore. Whenever you see the next 2025 build-up, the next 2027 build-up, the incident, stumping incident, the abuse, it's all etched forever in Ashes folklore. We hope that we see great action on the field rather than all the unnecessary noise that was created outside of it, because in the end, a great game was sullied. England did play poorly. Australia played better. And now, England, can they begin their quest to rewrite 87 years of history? Because the only side in the history of 140 years of Test cricket to come back from 0-2 down and win 3-2 was Don Bradman's Australia. They had lost the first 2 tests very badly. 3rd test, Bradman flipped the batting order on a very, very, you may say, a sticky dog wicket, pounded by rain. Australia won. The next test also Australia won. The 3rd test, the 5th test Australia won. 3-2. The ultimate comeback happened. Can Brendan McCullum's baseball do that? Because remember, if Australia win this or they draw this, maybe it's time to say RIP to baseball.
But would that be the case or not? We'll have to wait and watch. Thank you so much for all of you joining us at the moment. And as always, let us know in the comment section if really that comeback that Siddharth just alluded to, is it on the cards or not? Let us know in the comments.
Bye-bye.